Have you ever wondered who first looked at an animal and decided that milk was something humans should drink? Because that is already a strange idea. A large animal makes a warm white liquid for its own baby, and at some point, humans looked at that and thought, maybe we can drink that too. And then it gets stranger, because milk does not stay milk forever. It changes, thickens, smells different, sours, separates, and somehow, after enough time, enough mistakes, and enough careful attention, humans ended up with cheese, food that is basically milk after it stopped being milk. That sounds like a joke, but it points at a much bigger question, because the ancient world did not come with labels. There was no supermarket shelf, no nutrition facts, no warning sticker, no internet search, and no helpful person standing beside every plant saying, this one is safe, this one is dangerous, this one is only safe after you cook it, and this one will make you regret being curious. Imagine standing in a forest with no guidebook. There are berries on one branch, roots under the ground, mushrooms after the rain, leaves that smell sharp, seeds that look harmless, and animals eating things you have never seen before. Some of it is food, some of it is medicine, some of it does nothing, and some of it can kill you. So, how did humans ever figure out what was safe to eat? The easy answer is trial and error. But that answer is too small, because if the trial is eating a random mushroom and the error is death, then that is not a very good learning system. One person can make that mistake, but a group needs the lesson to survive. Someone has to notice, someone has to remember, someone has to warn the next person, and then the warning has to last long enough to matter. The real story is not one brave person tasting everything in the forest. The real story is slower, smarter, and much more human. It is the story of how danger became memory. At first, the problem looks simple. Humans need food. Food comes from the world. So humans must have looked around and tried what was available. But the moment you actually imagine that world, the problem becomes terrifying. Because food does not announce itself. A plant does not say, I am edible. A berry does not say, eat me only when I am ripe. A root does not say, I am safe after boiling, but painful if raw. A mushroom does not say, I look almost exactly like another mushroom, but one of us is dinner and one of us is a funeral. Today, if you find a strange plant, you can take a photo of it. You can search it. You can compare images. You can read warnings. You can ask a doctor. You can call poison control. And even then, people still make mistakes. Now remove all of that. No phone. No book, no database, no expert online, no chemical test, no written label, just a living world full of things that might keep you alive and things that might end you. This is why random guessing cannot be the whole answer. If every unknown food required a full bite, humans would have been in constant trouble. But humans were not only guessing, they were watching, they were smelling, they were tasting carefully, they were remembering patterns. They were copying each other. They were learning from animals. They were learning from sickness. They were learning from fire. And most importantly, they were learning as groups. That group part matters because a single person has one lifetime of mistakes. A group can collect many lifetimes. One person learns that a certain berry makes the stomach twist. Another learns that the same berry is worse when it is green. Another notices birds eat a different fruit every autumn and do not fall from the trees. Another learns that a root burns the mouth when raw, but becomes useful after cooking. Another remembers that a certain plant grows near water, and the safe one has a different smell from the dangerous one. None of those lessons are enough by themselves, but together they become a map. Not a map drawn on paper. A map carried in stories, habits, warnings, meals, rituals, and everyday behavior. And this is where the answer starts to change. Early humans did not need to know food the way a modern scientist knows food. They did not need the Latin name. They did not need the molecule. They did not need to know exactly why a toxin worked. They needed practical rules. Do not eat that leaf. Eat this fruit only when it turns dark. Cut away this part. Cook that root. Soak those seeds. Avoid that mushroom. Watch the season. Watch the animals, but do not trust them completely. If it smells rotten, be careful. If it is bitter, Slow down. If someone became sick after eating it, remember, that is not instinct, that is culture. And culture is one of the most powerful survival tools humans ever had. Instinct did help. It would be wrong to ignore it. Humans are not blank machines walking around the forest with no internal warnings. Disgust matters. Bad smells matter. Bitterness can matter. A strange texture, a burning mouth, nausea, dizziness, all of that can teach the body to back away. If a food makes someone violently sick, they may never want that taste again. That kind of learning is deep. The body remembers. But instinct has limits. Instinct might warn you about rot. It might make you cautious around bitterness. It might make you avoid food that smells obviously wrong. But instinct alone cannot explain cheese. It cannot explain bread. It cannot explain fermented drinks. It cannot explain soaking, drying, grinding, leaching, roasting, or cooking a dangerous plant until it becomes useful. Instinct does not tell you that something painful today might be safe tomorrow if prepared correctly. Instinct does not tell you that a food is safe only in one season. Instinct does not tell you that one plant is dangerous, while a nearly identical plant nearby is valuable. For that, humans needed memory. And not just personal memory, shared memory. Just a quick reminder, if you are enjoying this so far, feel free to subscribe for more. And leave a like so we know to keep making these. Because food knowledge was not only discovered, it was protected. Think about two similar plants. One can be eaten. The other can make you sick. To a beginner, they may look almost the same. Same green leaves, same small flowers, same place in the forest. The difference might be tiny. A smell, a shape, a season, as thin. A pattern that only matters if someone has pointed it out before. This is the kind of knowledge that does not survive well if everyone starts from zero. If every child has to rediscover the difference alone, the lesson is too dangerous. So adults teach, elders warn, stories repeat, certain plants become surrounded by rules. Do not touch this. Do not eat that. Bring this one back. Only gather it when it looks like this. If it grows beside that other plant, leave it. If it smells wrong, throw it away. Over time, those rules can become so normal that they feel obvious. But they were not obvious at the beginning. They were paid for, with sickness, with hunger, with attention, with memory, and sometimes with death. This is also why animal behavior mattered, but could not be the whole answer. Animals are useful clues. If birds eat a fruit again and again, that tells you something. If monkeys avoid a plant, that might tell you something. If grazing animals return to the same grasses, that might be worth noticing. But humans could not simply copy animals. Some animals can eat things that humans cannot. Some animals are built differently. Some can tolerate toxins that would hurt us. Some eat parts of a plant that are safe, while other parts are dangerous. And some animals might be eating something because they need it in a way humans do not understand. So animal behavior was a clue, not a guarantee. The same is true for taste. Taste is information. Sweetness can suggest energy. Sourness can suggest ripeness or fermentation. Bitterness can suggest danger. Saltiness can matter. Fat tastes valuable because energy was valuable. But taste is not a perfect safety system. Some dangerous things do not taste dangerous enough. Some safe things taste unpleasant before preparation. Some useful foods require work before they become good. And some things that taste strange at first become central to a culture. That brings us back to cheese, because cheese is a good example of how weird human food knowledge can become. Fresh milk is one thing, but leaving milk alone is risky. It changes quickly. In a warm world without refrigeration, that matters. Sometimes that change is dangerous. Sometimes it is useful. The difference is control. The difference is repeated observation. The difference is learning which changes are safe, which changes are useful, and which changes mean the food should be avoided. Fermentation is strange because it sits right on the edge between decay and transformation. To a modern person, the word fermented can sound clean and intentional, but the basic idea is unsettling. You let food change. You let tiny living processes work inside it. And if the process goes the right way, The food lasts longer, tastes different, or becomes easier to digest. If it goes the wrong way, it can make you sick. So how does anyone learn that? Not from one experiment. From repetition. From noticing. From copying the successful batch. From avoiding the bad batch. From containers. From temperature. From smell. From texture. From the person who says, "No, not that one. This is what it should look like." That sentence is civilization, hiding inside a kitchen. No, not that one. This one. That is how knowledge moves, not as a perfect scientific explanation, but as a rule that keeps someone alive. Cooking changed the problem even more. Fire did not only make food warm, it changed what food could be. A tough root could soften, meat could become easier to chew. Some parasites and germs could be reduced. Some plants that were unpleasant or risky raw could become useful after heat. Fire made food safer in some ways, but it also created a deeper lesson. Food is not always found finished. Sometimes, food is made. That is a huge shift. The question is no longer only, "Can I eat this?" The question becomes, what has to happen before this becomes food? That is where human intelligence becomes visible. Dry it, smoke it, cook it, sow it, pound it, grind it, remove the skin. Avoid the seed. Wait until it ripens. Do not wait too long. Mix it with something else. Store it in a certain way. Share it only after it is changed. These are not instincts. They are procedures. And procedures can be taught. This is why the oldest food knowledge is not just a list of edible things. It is a set of instructions. Some foods are safe as they are. Some foods are safe only after work. Some foods are safe only at the right time. Some foods are safe only for some people. Some foods are never worth the risk. And some foods live in a dangerous middle place where they can help you or hurt you depending on what you do. For a small group, this knowledge was as important as a tool. A sharp stone helps you cut. A fire helps you cook. A basket helps you carry. But a rule can save you before you ever touch the food. That plant is not for eating. That mushroom is not worth guessing. That fruit is safe after the birds come back each season. That root needs water and fire. That smell means throw it away. Those rules are invisible tools, and invisible tools are easy to underestimate. We often imagine survival as physical strength. The spear, the fire, the shelter, the hunt. But survival also depends on memory. What happened last winter? Which patch of land had food? Which berries made someone sick? Which animal tracks led to water? Which plant helped with pain? Which food lasted through the cold months? Which storage method failed? Which warning was ignored? A group that remembers better survives better. And a group that teaches better gives its children a head start. That is the part that makes humans different. We do not only learn from our own mistakes, we inherit other people's mistakes. That sounds dark, but it is one of the reasons we are here. By the time a child is old enough to gather food, the child is not entering a completely unknown world. The world is already marked by the group, not with signs, with habits, with names, with warnings, with songs, with meals, with rituals, with someone pulling a hand away from the wrong plant, with someone saying, "Not that one," and again, "No, not that one, this one." Over generations, that becomes tradition. And tradition is often treated like something soft, like stories, like customs, like old people, repeating things. But in a dangerous food environment, tradition can be a survival database. Not perfect, not scientific in the modern sense, but powerful. It stores what the group cannot afford to forget. This is also why food rules can become wrapped in ritual or taboo. If a certain food is dangerous at the wrong time, the group may not explain it with chemistry. They may explain it with a story, a warning, a rule, a forbidden act, a practice that feels bigger than ordinary choice. Modern people sometimes look at old food rules and ask why they were so strict. But strictness can help memory. If the rule is important enough, you do not want every person casually testing it again. You want the warning to feel heavy. You want it to survive boredom. You want it to survive curiosity. You want it to survive a hungry day. Because hunger makes people take risks. And this is another part of the story. Humans did not experiment because they were reckless. They experimented because hunger is pressure. If your group has enough reliable food, unknown plants are interesting. If your group is starving, unknown plants become tempting. Dangerous knowledge often grows near desperation. A famine, a bad season, a failed hunt, a change in climate, a group moving into unfamiliar land. Suddenly, the old food map is not enough. Now the group has to learn again. Carefully, if possible. Painfully, if necessary. This is how food knowledge expands. People move. They meet new plants. They watch new animals. They ask other groups. They copy neighbors. They trade. They marry into other communities. They carry seeds. They carry stories. They carry recipes. And the map grows. Not all at once. Not cleanly. Not without mistakes. But it grows. Eventually, a food that once seemed impossible can become normal. Milk becomes normal. Cheese becomes normal. Bread becomes normal. Fermented foods become normal. Cooked roots become normal. Spices, herbs, bitter leaves, strange seeds all become part of ordinary life. And once something becomes ordinary, we forget how strange it was. That may be the most interesting part. Food knowledge disappears into routine. Nobody eating cheese thinks about the long chain of observation behind it. Nobody biting bread thinks about all the grain, grinding, water, heat, timing, and microbial change behind it. Nobody eating a familiar berry thinks about the people who learned which similar berry to avoid. A meal feels simple because the danger has been solved before it reaches us. But the solution is still there, hidden in the food, hidden in the recipe, hidden in the warning, hidden in the fact that someone taught someone else. So how did humans know what was safe to eat? They did not know all at once. They learned slowly. They watched the world. They watched animals. They watched each other. They tasted carefully. They remembered sickness. They learned from death. They changed food with fire. They changed it with water. They changed it with time. They turned danger into rules. And then they turned rules into culture. The answer is not that humans were fearless. It is not that humans had perfect instincts. It is not that one person tried everything and handed everyone a list. The answer is that humans became very good at not starting from zero. Every generation inherited a world that had already been tested a little. Every child learned a map drawn by people who came before. Every meal carried old information. And that is why the question is bigger than food. Because this is one of the things humans do best. We take danger. We turn it into memory. We turn memory into teaching. And then, one day, the thing that once could have killed us becomes dinner. If you enjoyed this video, check out more of our videos. Or watch the video YouTube thinks you might like next.